Taking a look at BlackBerry stock, the overall movement unfortunately is to the downside still because we're being kept down by this downward trend resistance line right here. And you can see it's more prevalent because we had false breakouts right here, but more prevalent that this downward trend resistance line does exist where we spiked up as of recent June 17, 2021. There's additional price points here where we spiked up, got knocked down, but either way, digress. Went up, got knocked down, went up, got knocked down, up, knocked down. Bunch of times just got knocked down. Yes, a false breakout right there, but as of recent again, July 22nd, 2021, went up and got knocked down. So this downward trend resistance line, the overall movement is dragging us down. Plus, in the video I explained in my last video, explained more of a reason why the overall movement momentum is to the downside. Now that's not all bad news. I do own shares in BlackBerry, a lot of shares, and I'm still optimistic for the long term. But the good thing is though, you could average down, add new positions for the lower price points. I've accumulated cash on the side. I've not bought yet at these lower price points because I'm expecting further downside, and I'm expecting at least further downside to this price point right here, this moving upward trend support line, and then bounce up to the upside. Now, in my last video, I explained in further details as to why these three price points that I'm going to mention right now are the ultimate, hypothetically, lowest entry points that you could enter at. The first one is the low $9 price point. I'm expecting to enter that at the low $9 price point. That's what I'm expecting at. If it drops down relatively quickly, which I'll visually show right now too as well, then you could expect to enter at the $8.88, $8.80, or $8.70, $8.60 around there. So just to visually show, or actually, yeah, I'll run down through the price points first, and then I'm going to visually show. Then after that, $7.70, $7.80, $7.90. I do not think that is the case. I don't think we're going to see 770, 780, 790, but I mentioned in the last video and showed visually why we could potentially see that, because there is a potential. Because there's a potential, I showed it. But I do not think that's the case. Now, if everything seems to be going well, then I most likely might pull the trigger sooner than $9 and enter at 930 to 943, 45, or worst case, enter around 950, 955. I do still think we're going to see 950, 955, so I'm not worried about that. And again, if it drops relatively quickly, depending on what I see, I might hold off on buying. But ultimately, once I see it bounce off this moving average right here, or upward trend support line, sorry about that, and then I'm going to enter and think this is a good sign. Now, this upward trend support line is what the support line I'm banking on, and you could visually see it came down, bounced off, and went up to the upside off the support level in December 2020, January 2021, went up to the upside, came back down, and had two nice clean touch points right here as bounced off support. So when it was coming down and then bounced off support in May 11th, 2021, went up to the upside, came back down again, bounced off support on May 13th, 2021, and went up to the upside. So this is pretty prevalent that this is an upward trend support line, and it's not a guarantee that it'll hold us because, like I mentioned in the last video, the overall movement is to the downside, but I'm hoping that this upward trend support line holds, and I am optimistic that it will hold. So I'm going to explain one thing that a little bit touches on the fact that the overall movement is to the downside, but there is a recovery for this. So you could see right here, this MAC line, this is the 5-year chart. This indicates if it's a bearish or bullish movement. Now, in terms of the overall movement, it is indicating more downside. It is in the negative. It is indicating a bearish movement. But if you look at the 1-year chart right here, this is the 1-year movement, and this is the MAC line as well. It is still negative. It's still bearish, but it's trying to cross over to positive, to bullish movement, so optimistic movement. It curved up. Yes, it curved back down, but if you look at the bars, they're becoming a lighter shade of red, smaller bars overall, so potentially at one point crossing over to a positive. Now, again, I explained more details in my last video and all that stuff. So in a way, there is more downside, and it hasn't crossed over to positive. So to me, that shows that this upward trend support line could potentially hold, potentially. And as a worst case, let's just show in terms of algorithmic view for this upward trend support line, the red one like I showed in the last video, I just want to visually show because you can see it came down, bounced off support and all stuff on this red one. Ultimately, I'm thinking accompanying that 3-month chart I showed with the 5-year chart, if I see it bounce off this red upward trend support line at the same time with that 3-month chart that I showed earlier, then I think that's a great time to enter. Again, not a guarantee. Quick disclaimer before I continue, by the way, before I mention the resistance levels and all that stuff. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a professional. Everything I do share with you is just my opinion. It is not advice. So please do your own due diligence and research before buying and selling. Now, if we go back to the 3-month chart right now, right about here. As you can see, if we were to drop down dramatically, so to go back to the point about the 880, 860, 870 price point, if we were to drop down the next trading day, which today is July 26, 2021, closed at $10.16. I'm going to cover the next few trading days, trading weeks, and ultimately somewhat to the earnings, which is end of September. If we were to drop down right now, the next trading day, July 27th, then you could expect to hit around the 860, 863, 866 dollar price point in terms of support level, and then go up to the upside. Now, does that mean we're going to pass this downward trend resistance line? No, it does not. I'm pretty sure we would probably get knocked down by it, which let's just say we got knocked down by 10, 11, whatever it might be. Then come back down to test the support level again at 875, which, as you know, the longer we take, the higher we go in terms of low. So like the higher the lows will be. So if we take our time, like the sweet time to get to the like end of the upward trend support line, the higher the low will be. So maybe the lowest would be 888 or something. If we meet at this downward trend resistance line and upward trend support line at the very tip of the point, it's going to be August 9th. Now, from what I looked at the other viewpoints of the graph, there's a potential we could hit the upward trend support line on August 2nd, August 5th, August 6th, or August 9th right here. And if we wait until August 9th, we're looking at roughly around like 888, 880, 895, 892. And that does not mean necessarily we're going to spike up right here, but at least we continue the upward trajectory overall. So that is the good sign. Again, I'm optimistic for BlackBerry for long term, all that stuff. Now, let's just say we break through this downward trend resistance line, which I do not think is going to happen, but there is a potential. We're going to have issues passing, or just to let you know again, the most likely I'm going to enter at the low 9s, but again, depending on how fast it drops, it might enter at 880, 870, 860. If it doesn't drop that quick, around 950, 930, 940. And I'm not holding off till 770, 780, 790. I just don't think that's the case. But if anything drastic happens, I'll let you know. But for the time being, if you think it's going to break through these resistance levels and break through this downward trend resistance level, these are the price points you're looking at. So you're looking at first passing the $10.30 to $10.43 price point. $10.43 is going to be extremely hard to pass. Plus you have this moving average right now, right here at $10.33. So in essence, between $10.30 to $10.43, those resistance levels, those are horizontal resistance levels, plus accompanied by the moving average right here at $10.33, $10.36, is going to cause us difficulties to pass. Then after that, this is going to be the most difficult in my opinion. You have this moving average intertwined with this downward trend resistance line right here. So it's going to be difficult to see, but you can see right here. So because of that, it's going to be a massive resistance at the $10.55, $10.56, $10.57 price point. And because of that, there's a lot of horizontal resistance within that price point on the side as well. If you looked at the very left side of the graphs, or left side of the graph overall, and it's overall between 1050, not between, but in the 1050, 1060 range. So 1061, 1063, 1066 as well. So there might be a false breakout like we saw earlier and then still get knocked back down. Now, if it does pass that price point, we're still not in the clear because there is resistance at the 1083 to 1090 range. So like 1091 as well. And you could see that's pretty prevalent around here where this is more horizontal. This is nothing else. This is just horizontal resistance. So that you can see this horizontal resistance that acted as support twice as well. So it came down, bounced off support, then came down again, bounced off support. And then when it was underneath, it went up, got knocked down as resistance, and went up, got knocked down as resistance. Again, that's in the 1080 to 1090 range. So more specifically 1083, 1087, I think it was, and 1091, 1090. So all around that ballpark. Now, if it does pass, it is looking good. Not in the clear yet, but at least it's still somewhat optimistic. You would have to pass $11.02, $11.06. Those are horizontal resistance levels. Then we have issues with this moving average right here, which coincides with horizontal resistance levels. I'll visually show something quickly. There's more examples to the side of the graph as well. But you could see right here, around 1136, 1137, 1134, 1133, plus this moving average. By the time we get to it, let's just say we just go through all these resistance levels like nothing, right? Then we're probably going to have issues around 1133, 34, 36, 37, 35, and then probably get knocked back down. So much so because the overall movement, like I mentioned in the last video, is still to the downside. Unfortunately, we might come back down to a downward trend resistance line and get stuck again until August 9th or August 5th, 6th or 2nd, like I mentioned, and bounce off the support level. again, not guaranteed. Now, if we do pass 1137, that is good, but we're stuck between the last, hypothetically, there is more resistance levels, but I would say at least the second last major one. So because we want to get back up to the $12 price point, because there is support, it's gonna be issues passing $12 resistance level, but once you pass it, I think you could have a cushion at the $12 price point where it would be a support level. But the second last one is $11 price, $11.50 range, which you could see right here. We spiked up to 1150, 1155, whatever it might have been, 1151, 1157, and got knocked down pretty quickly. So that is a major resistance level. I don't think all these resistance levels are going to be broken relatively soon until after the fact, at least August 9th, I would say. Most likely August 9th, to be honest, in my opinion. And then after that, you're going to have issues passing around the $11.77, $11.78 price point range. You could visually see right here where we went up to it. And not even just that, you went up to it a couple times, and then also it bounced off of support. So let me just visually show as well again, just right here. So right there, went up to it a bunch of times in ballpark around 1177, 1178, 1180, and then bounced off support as well around 1183, 1181, something like that. So a lot of resistance levels to pass. Overall movement, unfortunately, still to the downside. But again, that's not bad news, because if you believe in BlackBerry for long term, what you're looking at is you're looking for the right entry points. That's what you're looking at for the most part. Again, I don't advocate for selling at these price points to buy lower, especially where we're at right now. It's not necessarily that bad to like try to benefit off of a dollar drop, because the patent sale could hypothetically come out anytime. I'm not expecting until end of September anyway, but again, I'm personally not taking the risk, but it's up to you. It's all your money, so you can do whatever you want, whatever you think is the best play for your financials. But this is what I'm doing overall, and this is how I view the stock for the time being. The future looks promising and all stuff with the Ivy system, the BlackBerry Spark. Revenue should be kicking in full throttle by June, July of next year. They do start kicking in December for BlackBerry Spark. Well, they're already kicking in right now, but BlackBerry Spark will be doing a little bit more better in December and then March of next year. And then Ivy starts kicking in hypothetically more into March of next year and then moving forward. But it just starts in March of next year. So I'm not expecting any massive numbers until at least June, July for Spark and Ivy to fully kick in. Hopefully I covered everything. I feel like I'm missing something, but if I am missing something, I'll comment down below. Hopefully you liked the video. If you did, consider dropping a like. It does help out the channel, so thank you so much for that. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask. I'll try to answer them as soon as possible. And if you like videos like this or other financial videos or other stock videos in general, consider subscribing so you'll be notified when I do upload those videos. Thanks again for watching. Appreciate it, and I'll see you next video. Peace.